Obalola.
Ṣé o ṣe ń tẹnu mọ́ pé àṣìṣe ni wọ́n ní? Èmi ni àmúṣà ètò èmi kẹ́mi ni. Ọmọ alápàtà lè. Àti kékeré ni mo ti máa ń ṣàyàn àtẹ̀rọ̀kọ.
Put your gun down. Your boy go die.
Hello guys, welcome to my channel. The movie I'm about to recap is titled Gangs of Lagos. The movie revolves around the lives of the different political thugs and gangs in Lagos, Nigeria. The movie began with the popular Eyo festival celebration in Isale Eko. A man was sitting in his living room and one Eyo man entered, killing him instantly. The next scene then shows a woman with a child in a car. A young boy placed a small knife on her face, asking her to give him a bag. She hit his hand and asked him to leave. She looked beside her to find another boy placing a knife on a child's neck. She quickly gave him a bag and the boys ran off. She came out of the vehicle and started screaming for help, but everyone seems to be going about their daily activities. In another part of Lagos, a notorious gang leader, Nina Lowo, was stealing from a container containing lots of goods with his gang members, and the man is being taught how to swallow drugs and engage in drug trafficking. The little kids from Helia went to a hideout to check out their loot. They found some money and an international passport. The gang leader, Obalola, asked that they throw away the international passport while his friend Ifi suggested that they leave it. They began to argue about who gets to lead the team, and Ifi gave Oba the condition of being the capo or having the girl they both like, Tenny. Oba chose Tenny over being the leader, and Gift, the only girl who works with them, made fun of the two boys for liking the same girl. Meanwhile, Nino Lowo has a meeting with the Elenia of Lagos. He's a feared criminal and gang leader who was taking part in different local elections but is about retiring. He wants Nino to get some boys to ensure that his party wins 15 local governments, but Nino told him that he has plans with his life. In fact, he told him that he has gathered enough funds and will be starting a legitimate business very soon. Elenia advises him against that, saying it's either he takes his rightful place in eco politics or be 6 feet down. He told him that he has a lot of people who love him compared to his friend and counterpart Kazim, who was Tenny's father. Just then, the woman whose bag was snatched visits Elenia. She explained her plight and Elenia assured her that she will get her bag back. A young man brought in Oba with the bag and she immediately said it's her bag. Elenia interrogated the small boy and found out his dead father was his friend. He drew the boy closer and praised him for being the true son of his father. Oba then mentioned to Elenia that the woman had come to report at the police station and as such can't have the bag. Elenia was angry to hear this. The rule of thumb is that only the people who report their missing items to the gang leader would get it back. If they involve the police, they would have to go back to them to get their item. The woman explained that she did it because of her international passport, but they sent her out nonetheless. Later, Nino cajoled Oba into giving him the bag. He was talking to Nino when he heard Tenny Kazim's daughter call his name. She was in the car as her father drove off. Nino then approached Oba and asked him how he knew the woman reported at the station. He then replied that he only used his brain because the woman took too long to report to the gang leader, so she must have been to the police station first. Nino was impressed at Oba's smartness. He told Oba to always ask him for anything he wanted. Nino told him his home address so he could visit anytime, and he found out Nino lives next door to Tenny, his crush. Nino then even gave him some money. Oba's mother walked past at that moment, so she collected the money and threw it at Nino. Nino asked her to calm down, saying he was only trying to help, but his mother warned him to desist from her son and not corrupt him. She took Oba to the church and he had a spiritual bath and was beaten with many brooms. He looked very hungry after the cleansing, but his mother assures him it's for the best. Oba then go home from that day on and went to Nino, who took him in as a son. His wife took great care of him and he was given a room with his window facing Tenny's room. He was happy to be close to his crush. Days later, Oba's mom found out he was at Nino's place. She went there one morning to ask them to give her son back to her, but Nino and his wife refused, saying she was a bad mother for treating Oba that way. Oba peeped from behind and saw his mother at the door, but he refused to go with her. She swore from that day that he will die young from the kind of life he has chosen. From that day on, Nino takes Oba everywhere he goes. One day, he took him to Kazim's place and asked him to remain in the car. Oba heard someone screaming and he got out of the car. He moved close to where the noise was coming from and he was surprised to find Kazim butchering a man alive while Nino watched. He was horrified and tried running back but fell down. Kazim asked Nino why he brought a child to his butcher house, but he replied that he couldn't leave him alone at home. Kazim was impressed with Oba's confidence and he said Oba might be born for this and grow up more fiercer than Nino Lowo. Nino was angry at this statement, saying no one is born to do the kind of dirty job they do. One day, a mother had gone to Nina Lowo to help her get back her daughter from London, another notorious gang lord. Nina Lowo invaded London's club as a result and he got the girl back. Due to this and other good acts, Nina Lowo is loved by the people and his chances of becoming the governor continues to widen. Meanwhile, Oba and Tenny now seem to bond well that lives next door. Tenny says she would like to be a lawyer when she grows up and arrest corrupt politicians, but Oba reminds her that her father works for them. She doesn't mind because she knows they're just using her father. Oba said Nino wants him to become a governor or writer like Wale Soyinka because he's intelligent, even though he's more inclined towards the ways of the streets. If he says he'll become the biggest musician, while Gibbs says she would manage his music label. The kids had a great time together. The three chaps now go to the same school until one morning everything changed. Nino's dead body was seen on the streets of Isale Eko. He was butchered many times before being killed. This broke Oba, Gift and Ife. His death led to a fight between different gangs and many were killed. Years later, the three were grown-ups. They are stuck together even after Nino's death and visit his graveyard every year. The three now work for Kazim, Nino's friend. Ify, now a musician at the club, also works as a driver for Kazim and tax collector around the market, while Gift and Oba does the dirty jobs of fighting rival groups. Meanwhile, the election for the new governor of Lagos is approaching, and Kazim is one of the governorship candidates. He has a woman as contender, and he believes she's a blabbermouth because she talks too much, so she's not much of a threat. Kazim has grown to be more powerful over the years and he kills people who messes around with him in a blink of an eye. He still operates his butcher house. One day, he sent Oba and Gift to get Wemimo, a tax collector, for taking 5 million naira from his money and he killed the young chap immediately. He gave Oba 50,000 naira for the job done and Oba thanked him. When Oba got home, he hid the money under his bed and thought of going to San Francisco ran through his mind. He is saving heavily to leave the country as soon as the opportunity presents itself. He believes that a life of crime doesn't pay and he would have gone to school if Nino wasn't murdered in cold blood. Meanwhile, Oba, Gift, and Ife are feared by many groups because Oba has a gun and influence, and one of these groups end up running away from a fight at the club when Oba brought us his gun. On the way home, Ifeanyi's girlfriend approached them. She called Ife a coward for abandoning her and her child. Knowing how difficult life was for him while growing up without a father, Oba promised her that Ife would take responsibility from that night on. So they took Ife's girlfriend to his mother, who was happy to see her grandchild for the first time. Ife apologized to Blessing and promised to take care of her from that day on. Meanwhile, Tenny has arrived from the US. His father, Kazim, has brought her a house on the island and he wants Oba to be her personal bodyguard. Tenny was very happy to see the three chaps. Kazim asked Ife to drive him, while he told Keith to follow one of his men to where he keeps his gun. When they got to Tenny's apartment, Oba was surprised to see how big the house Tenny's father bought in and it was, and he swore from whoever killed Nino because he would have given him a better life if he was alive. Nino got to a barber shop and asked Ify to stop. He entered inside and the barber sent everyone their way. London was there and he did not leave. Kazim accused London of betrayal by supporting the female candidate for election. An argument ensued and Kazim shot London on his chest 2 times. He left with Ify immediately and London's boys ran after them, shooting at their windscreen. Ify quickly drove away. Tenny and Oba were catching up on old times, and Oba isn't happy that Tenny is no longer in his class. However, she told him that education doesn't matter when it comes to power because her father doesn't have an education and is contesting for the governorship election. That night, Kazim encouraged Ify for his smart move after he killed London, but he said he had to take care of the barber, which means to kill him that night, and he should come to the club to see the manager that will sign him up as a musician after doing the job. If he was worried about this, he rushed to tell Oba that he hasn't killed anyone before and he wouldn't know how to pull that off. Oba asked him to relax, saying they would simply tell the man to go to a very far place and never come back. Ify was outside the barber's shop waiting for Oba to come over. However, Oba was with Tenny, who was shopping. By the time Tenny was done shopping, he was pissed at her. She asked why he would scream at her and he stopped the car. He explained to her that her father uses them to get people's money to offer his daughter and family a life of comfort while they aren't sure about their own future. He told her how her father gets things to fight on the street and kill themselves just so his wealth would grow. Terry was Terry at this point, saying she didn't ask for the kind of life she has, and Hubert asked if he asked for that kind of life for himself. He drove off in anger, and a car hit them from the behind. Ify kept calling Hubert, but he wasn't picking up again, so he went in to see the barber and told him to leave the country or he would be killed. The barber promised to do so and thanked Ify. As if he left, another man entered the barber's room and shot him 3 times. Oba and Tenny has lost consciousness due to the impact from the car. Oba woke up first and woke Tenny up. Tenny grabbed the gun from her bag as some men unmasked approached the vehicle. They grabbed her down and she points a gun at them. They asked her to drop the gun or they will kill Oba, but Oba asked her to stand her ground. Meanwhile, the men that killed the Baba went after Ife. They used an axe to cut his leg open from a tricycle to prevent him from running away. At that moment, he called Gift to let her know he's in trouble. After a while, the men that surrounded Oba and Tenny went back into their vehicle and drove off. The men that cut Ife's leg stopped the tricycle and stabbed him many times before shooting him on the head. Meanwhile, Tenny and Oba had gotten home and they couldn't resist each other after cleaning their wounds. Knowing if he was in danger, Gift rushed down to find out if he had been butchered. His baby mama got there and they all cried. Oba was in the bed with Tenny when he remembered that he promised to go to the barber with Ify. He called him and Gift told him he was dead. He rushed down and Gift was mad at him, asking why he wasn't with him to protect him, knowing Ify can't kill a fly. His mother came at that moment and she wailed. Ify's death was so painful to everyone that Oba, Gift and the members attacked London's men thinking they killed Ify to revenge their boss's death. After fighting without backing down, Oba was captured and tied around a chair. The assistant gang leader was a friend of his father. He asked him to wake up because his enemy is with him. He revealed to him that Kazim killed London and lied that it was Ify. So they had a deal that Ify will be killed for killing London or his daughter will be kidnapped. He told Oba that they left Tenny that night because they heard that Ify had been killed. Oba was surprised to hear that Kazim could do that to them. He told Gift about this and they were disappointed in Kazim and they asked why it had to be easygoing Ify. They both swore to revenge his death, even if it means they'll be killed. They started by taking Kazim's weapon keeper. He took them across the river. After burning down the place, he told them that he has something to tell them. He explained to them that Kazim killed Nino and other powerful gang leaders because of his greediness in ruling Lagos. They killed the man after this and decided to end Kazim's reign of terror once and for all. Before embarking on the final mission, Oba called his mother, but she hangs up on him, saying she doesn't know him. Then Oba gathered all the gangs from Lagos mainland and highland to make it easy to bring Kazim down. The gangs of Lagos disguised as Eyo festival carriers and attacked them during an event. They killed all the bad gang leaders while Kazim tried to escape. Oba goes after him and asks them to go by fist. Oba drops the gun and fights Kazim. However, Kazim got him really bad and told him that he's just a fool whom he will kill just like he killed his father. Oba had given up, but Gift shot Kazim from behind and he fell off the building to a car. Tenny screamed when she saw her father's corpse in a car while Oba and Gift watched from the top of the building. In the end, Oba built a home for all the people he loved and he forgot his dream of going to San Francisco to becoming the new Eleni of Lagos as he forms alliance with a female candidate supported by London. He hopes to rise to the position of a governor in Lagos very soon. The movie ends here. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, like and share if you like this recap and have a beautiful day. Bye.